Yo, what's poppin', everybody? I want to welcome y'all back to the No Level Cap podcast. I'd like to introduce everybody to the crew. We got the collector of collectors and Twitch streamer extraordinaire, Will Coleman. What's up, Will?
How y'all doing today? My throat is scratchy and I'm a little stuffy, but I'm here. I'm living. I'm breathing, partially.
Still here, still black, as Rakeem would say, and devoted to the podcast. Glad to have you here. We got the Black Daredevil and the best actor in Austin, Texas. What's going on, Terrence Flowers?
Hey, it's been a pretty good week, and got to see this movie Thursday. I definitely have some thoughts on it, so I'm looking forward to discussing it and looking forward to hearing what everybody else thinks on it. So yeah, let's get to it.
And we also have the living cartoon and the man with the golden voice, Rakeem Beck. All right, I want y'all to make sure y'all check Rakeem out on TV FGC, where they talked about IGN's top 10 fighting game list. Just want to make sure y'all do that for us. And what's going on, Rakeem?
I have risen, and so I'm rising to the occasion of a No Level Cop podcast, and I'm ready to talk about this movie.
Did you say the No Level Cop podcast?
Maybe, maybe not. Well, it's No Level Cap for all our listeners out there.
I was gonna say
No Level Cops. That's a whole different level.
I was gonna say it's
not level we want to go to.
I don't want to know what the fuck the No Level Cop podcast is, but I mean, I'm a fan of the Acclaimed, and only cops hate the Acclaimed, and I love the Acclaimed, so I'm not trying to have no Level Cops on here. So, as you know, I am Sage Ashford, the man who won't shut up. And on No Level Cap podcast, we talk about all the anime, all the gaming, all the nerd culture, and none of the bullshit. We are back with episode 24. No Level Cap goes live every Monday. If you prefer the video version, we're on YouTube. If you're a fan of the audio, we're live on Spotify as well. And we put up bite-sized clips of our podcast on TikTok. So this week, we're talking about Dragonball Super, Superhero. The movie dropped this weekend. We all went out and saw it pretty much immediately. Terrence, he said he saw it on Thursday. Me and Keem are just coming back from seeing it. And Will had an interesting way of seeing it himself, but he was devoted. He got through it. He watched it, so I'm appreciated for that. So I want to start with, what did y'all think of the movie? And the first person I want to ask, because it's interesting, he keeps saying it. Rakeem, you said the film started off kind of slow, so you tell me, what did you think about the film?
Yeah, so as I was watching this film, I did enjoy the fact overall that how they introduced the villain characters in the beginning of this film. They did give them kind of a little bit of adequate backstory. You had this person who had ties to the Red Ribbon Army. You had the doctor character, Dr. Hedo, I believe his name was.
Yeah.
Who had connections to Dr. Giro as his grandson. And so them working together to kind of be like this insidious group under the guise of being the heroes of the story. That was a cool twist. I do feel like, though, as I was watching, I feel like they could have ramped up that very beginning opening process as they were introducing those characters. It kind of felt like it was starting to drag a little bit for me. I did enjoy the comedy bits. I feel like they made sure each character had a really fleshed out kind of personality for the movie. I like the little side character for the main villain, his dude boy. He had the cool haircut and he had the PowerPoint presentations. Yeah, Carmine. That was funny. I like Carmine. Carmine was actually kind of like a secret hero himself, and it's not hero, but like one of the pluses for this movie because he was really, really funny. Like his timing and stuff for some of the comedy, I enjoyed it. But there were parts of this movie that kind of dragged for me. Like I said, the opening sequence, I think it went just a little bit too long. They had a cutaway to Goku and Vegeta because it's a Dragon Ball movie. Of course, they can't go 5. Even if it's not about Goku and Vegeta, they got to give them, hey, while we're here, let's see what Goku and Vegeta's doing. And I remember they did like a segue point where they explained why Goku and Vegeta weren't there. For the average Dragon Ball fan who knows if Goku was there, he beat everybody up and all that. Why isn't he here? So they explain that away. I thought that cutaway segment really lasted a long time for something that didn't directly have anything to do with the plot. It lasted a long, long time. It was cool seeing Goku and Vegeta have their fight scene, and I like the connection between Superhero and the Broly movie. Showing what happened with those characters, the Broly characters, that we're not wasting those characters. They're still in the universe. They're still doing things. They're training Broly up. That was a cool concept, like seeing Broly train and watch Goku and Vegeta go at it so he can learn how to control his anger. Cool angle, but I still feel like they went a little long there. So it caused kind of movie to drag. So overall, I felt like the movie was okay. Watching it, I was like, this is a very movie. They kind of sped up the explanations for certain things. Like the powers for Piccolo and Gohan, so they could get to the level where they could be the heroes of this movie. They give them like an extra power boost. and the explanations they had for like giving the dragon an extra 3 wishes by pouring water on it.
We'll get into that. We gonna get into that.
Okay.
That was wild. That was wild.
They just said, you know what? This a movie. We can do what we want. Lore, who cares? Show you I'm gonna do it this way anyway.
Who needs it?
So overall, I thought the movie kind of like dragged it parts. There were parts that I really liked with the villains and stuff and the comedy and stuff like that. I feel like I can't give it more than like a 7.5 for me personally.
Hey, look.
Yeah.
The rating comes at the end.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
7.
But yeah,
7.5.
that's what I thought about my initial thoughts on the movie.
We'll just
Said we
pretend
can
that
get it out tonight.
you didn't hear that part.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, pretend like y'all didn't hear that part. Will, you said you watched it on your phone.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand because like you couldn't get to a theater and you still wanted to see it so that you could, chime in, which I appreciate. But like, how was that watching it on your phone? Was that like a really shitty experience? Was it all right? And what did you think of the film?
It was actually an okay experience. It played pretty well. I didn't have any like skips, stutters, or just crashes in quality. So I was pretty okay with that. And plus, it was a pretty slow day at work. So I was just like, you know what? I can fit this movie in here and there. I have no problem doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I do agree with Keem. It definitely kind of dragged in the beginning because I watched it. I was just like, this is dragging a little bit, but I can appreciate them tying these characters in here and letting me know, hey, these characters are related to this thing here that you've seen many moons ago, and they're related to this character. They're related to this. I like that. That's really cool. And I like Dr. Hedo. I do like him because while it is that they are under the guise of being the superheroes, I kind of get it. Like, I think he doesn't want to be like his grandfather. He wants to be himself. He wants to do something good. Because he mentioned it himself. Oh, I just want to build androids. That's all I want to do. I just want to build some of the best androids I can make and get them out there to do whatever. And also, King definitely mentioned this too. I'm just glad my boy Piccolo got some shine. Look, I know he's like the other parental figure in the show. If you've watched the show and you paid close
The
to
foremost parental figure, to be honest.
Yeah,
pretty much, yeah. Like the one you see, he was the dad, and then now you got to see him be Uncle Piccolo for a little bit, but also got to see him have his big moment, and I'm just like, thank you. Finally.
Literally.
I'm tired of my boy jobbing.
He definitely was not jobbing in this film.
He sure wasn't jobbing, and I love it too. And Gohan, the only thing I don't like really is how Gohan kind of like just clicked back into place all of a sudden. Because like we know he's just been a geek for like the longest and just doing his little thing. And then all of a sudden, oh, my daughter's kidnapped? Bet. I remember how to fight now.
Trust
That's the
me.
only thing
I got some stuff to say about that. Yeah.
that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm just like, damn, he got it back mighty quick. He didn't have to go through a fight to get it. He just like, oh, that's my blood you took. Bet. Let me go ahead and show you what I can really do.
And they really, well, we'll talk in a second.
We gonna talk on it in a minute. But overall, with everything that I watched with that movie, aside from me having to stop every 20 minutes or so to probably get a Madden 23 to someone.
I was going to say to ring up some Madden 23, huh?
Yeah, bro, you already know. And a couple PS5s here and there.
Oh, well, at least y'all got them.
Yeah, we got them. But aside from that, I give the movie I'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
I'll talk about that later. But
yeah, there we go.
I thought the movie was pretty solid. It was solid, but it just needed to cut down on small little things.
I mean, I'm not a Dragon Ball Super fan anymore, which is funny because Dragon Ball Super, but like I'm not just like a giant fan anymore. But I thought this was an enjoyable film. It reminded me of Battle of the Gods a little bit. It didn't take itself too seriously. Just a bit of a comedy with like the stakes raised just high enough for it to be worth Gohan and Piccolo being involved in shit. I can kind of agree with y'all that it was a little long. It didn't feel long to me, but I was also like taking hella notes. So like the parts where it slowed down and like that kind of was kind of long for me, I guess, because I was like taking copious notes to make sure that I could break down the plot when we got into the plot section of this review. And so y'all know, this is a full spoiler review. Like, I mean, we're going to put it in the title, but if you somehow missed it in the title, this is a full spoiler review. I don't really see a purpose in doing like a review that has no spoilers. I feel like enough places do that. And I quite frankly, like, I always like hearing what people think once they've actually seen it. And once I've seen it, I like hearing what people think about it. And so like because like next week we're gonna be talking about something completely different. So like this week I just wanted to do a full spoiler breakdown. But yeah, like I was sitting there writing and like taking notes and talking about the plot. and I never really felt the slowness of it. So like it was just an enjoyable little comedy movie for me. I don't hold Dragon Ball to the same standards that I held it when I was in like 5th grade. It is long since fallen out of my top 30. That shit fell out of that years ago. And so like to me, it's just like okay, what crazy shit are they gonna do now? Are they gonna finally, like I might like it a little more just because it's a movie where Goku doesn't come in at the last second and save the day. That might be doing a lot for me because that was always my problem going back to when I was a kid. That was probably one of the first things that made me kind of like sour on Dragon Ball a little bit and eventually just stop being a fan was how Goku was just the guy. He was the only guy that ever, especially in movies. Like I know y'all remember movies like Tree of Might where like what's my man's name, Turles, he showed up with all his little assistants, and his assistants just straight up hold every member of the Z Warriors for no reason at all, and then Goku just shows up and bitches all of them in like seconds. And I'm like, what was the point of that? Like, you could have had a whole cool little fight scene between the Z Warriors and Turles's like little side alien niggas and all that. That could have been cool. And they just chose not to do that, just to have Goku show up and immediately punch everybody in the face in like one scene. And that's just so whack to me. And that kind of stuff got under my skin. And like over the years, eventually I started to resent the show. You say what?
Hi, my name is Goku.
He just gonna show up he just show up and whoop everybody. And I mean, like, this movie, they legit didn't do that. They never fell back on that old trope of Goku doing everything, of Vegeta doing everything. It was just Gohan and Piccolo. Like, they tried to call Goku and Vegeta, which is kind of how I'm like, okay, this is just a comedy. I'm not gonna take it too serious. Because like they tried to call Goku and Vegeta and just never did, and they had moments where they could have, and they were just like, "Oh snap, we forgot we had a convenient way to get him here, and we just didn't." It's like, yo, what? Like you had a way, like an obvious way to just like in a second, and they just were like, "Oh, we forgot." I'm like, all right, this is just it's just a joke now. And I mean, like, it's where you remember that Akira Toriyama got his start as a gag manga artist. Like that was where he got that's where his roots are. And Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball, but especially the first arc, and then parts of other arcs, like the first arc, the Tenkaichi Budokai and all that, like going forward, was very like gag manga-y. It had like some strong action elements to it, but it was like lots of jokes. Like remember in Tenkaichi Budokai, the first one, it was like literally a dude. The only thing that he really had going for him was that he stunk so bad that it was impossible to fight him. Like, that's the kind of goofy shit that we used to deal with back in Dragon Ball days. Of course, America's just kind of used to just watching and seeing, like, Dragon Ball Z, and that's all they see. And so for them, they're like, I'm used to it being super serious, but, like, that's not what he wanted originally. And so, like, I've noticed as the movies have, like, to bring him back, he kind of was like, all right, I'm just going to do more, like, comedy, not slice of life, but just, like, funny stuff mixed with action. And the action was still pretty solid to me. I thought it was very well animated, way better looking than it had any right to be, considering it was like a CG thing. Like, I know when we all saw CG at first, everybody after seeing Dragon Ball Broly was like, oh, fuck. After having like an animation that looked like as good as it looked, they about to fuck it all up. But they didn't. Like, I thought the animation looked great throughout. I never really had any complaints. Like, I really despise CG, but at no point was I just like that upset about it. It just kind of looked like, the Dragon Ball manga come to life, which we'll get into that a little bit more. All right, Terrence, you've had some interesting reactions. So, like, what do you think? What did you think of the film? Like, how did you like it?
So, I'm kind of like in between you all. Like, I appreciate, Rakim and Will, you all kind of not coming in with like the most glowing praise, and Sage, I appreciate you, giving the good on it, because there is good to this movie. The way I see it is like it's fine. The movie is just fine. It's not great. It's not bad. It's just right in between. The good. I guess I'll start with the good. The good is I like that Piccolo is the main character of this movie. I know that the advertising kind of put like Gohan and Piccolo as the main characters. This is really Piccolo's movie. He's in it like 90%, and Gohan really just shows up halfway and kind of just steals the thunder. Not like literally steals the thunder from Piccolo, but he they kind of make it where it's a bit more about him, but Piccolo is still heavily involved. Like, he's even part of the reason why Gohan gets the development that he does later on in the movie. Another positive is the comedy. The comedy is good. Like you said, Sage. Dragon Ball is known for being humorous, and this movie, not only with the comedy, there's so many other like callbacks to Dragon Ball that makes hey, the whole Red Ribbon Army thing, the links to Dr. Gero, what was the villain's name? What, Magenta? Like, isn't he like the?
Yeah.
Isn't he
the son of Dr. Red? I mean, of General Red, I think his name
yeah,
was.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. So that was like, all those are just really cool callbacks. Calling Piccolo Demon King Piccolo is like, yeah, all those are just really cool callbacks to Dragon Ball. One thing that I thought was really cool is how they officially put Android 21 into canon. Like, if you notice, like, at the beginning of the movie, when they did like the family tree, they had Gero and they had Android 21 or whatever her real name is, like, as the parents to Hedo's parents. Yeah. So that was a cool way of inserting her into canon. And Android 21 was designed by Akira Toriyama for Dragon Ball FighterZ, so it's really cool to see her actually be part of the official canon. And who knows, maybe she'll show up in a movie or the series at some point as like maybe some like kind of like callback or like flashback to the past. In terms of the bad, my major thing with this movie is that we've been through this arc with Gohan multiple times now. It's like, and they keep treating it like it's something new. It's like, we saw it in the Buu saga, we saw it in Dragon Ball Super, and we're seeing it again. In fact, the thing that I really don't like about this movie is the fact that it pretty much undermines Gohan's development from Super. And, we'll dive into that later on. The CG, actually, I had no problem with. I thought the CG was fine. And I know a lot of people were going into this movie thinking like, oh, the CG is going to be terrible. It served its purpose. It was fine. The thing to me that didn't help it was that I thought the fight choreography for this movie was not really that great. Like, there's not any fights that really just stand out like that. Like, they're good fights, but they're nothing that, like, I'm not gonna look at this movie and say like, yeah, any of these fights, these like stand toe to toe with like the top 10 of like Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, whatever. None of these fights in this movie stand with Broly. I'll put it that way. Anything else, I'll get into later when we like dive into the plot, but just my overall and feelings on it's fine. I liked it. It was entertaining, but do I consider it one of the better Dragon Ball movies? Not really. I guess I'll rank it later. I'll give you my ranking with the other movies later, along with my numerical score of it. So yeah, that's where I am with it right now.
All right. With that being said, let's just go ahead and move into like the plot breakdown. Like I said, this is a full spoiler cast. Please do not come in our comments. We try to be very polite in the comments to everybody that watches, even when people say dumb shit. But like, I'm not going to be polite. I'm going to tell you should have read. Don't tell me about no spoilers. I want to hear that shit. All right. So the movie opens with a flashback to Goku in the Dragon Ball era, beating the brakes off the Red Ribbon Army. And I was like, damn, I forgot. Goku legit clapped a whole army on his own. Like, what? That kid was a beast, man. Like, I forgot. Like, they were showing like him fighting what's my man's name? Mercenary Tao and all them other dudes, and he was just beating up on. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this kid. No wonder they hate y'all. They remind you about Dr. Gero, and they introduce you to Magenta, the son of the leader of the Red Ribbon Army, and then also Dr. Hedo, the grandson of Dr. Gero, who helped rebuild the Red Ribbon Army later on. Dr. Gero's late wife is Android 21. I was kind of like, because at first I was legit like, they were like, oh, Dr. Hedo, Dr. Gero's grandson. I was like, who the fuck Dr. Gero in the first place? And I never played Dragon Ball Fighter, so I had no idea.
He wasn't always old.
It's not that he was always
the tank.
It's not that he's always old. I'm just like, bro, this man was clearly crazy from day one. He was like, I'm gonna take my body and cut everything out. I'm gonna cut my head off and crack my head open and take my skull and take my brain and throw it into like a robotic body. Like, bro, everybody should have looked at you and been like, what the fuck are you talking about? But then when I found out that Android 21 was his wife, I was like, oh no, she was just as crazy as your ass was. So it all makes sense. All right,
It kind of remind me of the plot in another spoiler, Final Fantasy VII, when you find out Sephiroth's dad was like that crazy scientist who
Yeah.
purposely had sex with this woman, like who was also
Hojo?
a scientist. Yeah, Hojo.
Yeah,
Okay.
Hojo.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he was related, like his cells were involved. He had sex with this woman who was also a scientist, and all that. It was like a weird kind
Now
of love triangle thing.
Keem. Normally I'm fine with 20-year-old spoilers, and it's too late now. But like,
Look,
Rebirth is like right around the corner, and this.
I mean,
man
they
was
could
just
change
like,
the whole plot for all we know.
They not gonna
Heck,
change.
they already kind of are.
They are changing some of it. So you're right about that.
yeah.
So like we meet Hedo, and Hedo's in jail. Well, we don't meet Hedo, like, because immediately Magenta is talking to his sidekick, Carmine, who goes around making PowerPoints and shit like that. And Carmine is like,
presents.
Carmine
Carmine
presents.
was
Yeah,
funny.
he was a very funny character.
Yeah.
Magenta's like, yo, man, I want this dude Hedo. He's gonna help us rebuild the Red Ribbon Army. And and Carmine's like, yeah, but you gonna have to wait some time because he in jail right now. And Hedo was in jail for stealing 3 bodies and using them to make androids to run a convenience store. The cost of which is going to jail for like approximately 21 months. To which I was like, yeah. All right, what? Like, first off, he can't be that bright because like he had a group of idiots, like they were like some idiot androids. You could look at them and tell, like, all right, something they ain't right, they ain't quite right. But they was like, garage-based tech. Basically, he just kind of built them in with like whatever spare tech he had, and he had them running what looked like a 7-Eleven or whatever. He was like, all right, going out there and hawk them gigantic bladder busting sodas to them niggas, and we gonna make it work because I'm gonna build something better than y'all with the money I get from it. And obviously that didn't work. He wound up going to jail. He's such like they have to wait until he gets out of jail, and when he finally does, he's such a loser. Apparently, they hated him when he was in there. They're like throwing a bunch of shit at him when he leaves, but you really shouldn't throw anything at a mad scientist because like he tosses back a fucking grenade and seemingly kills a shit ton of people, and nobody thinks to say, excuse me, nobody thinks to say, hey, bro, you just murdered a lot of people. Bring your ass back. Like you shouldn't be out.
Gonna serve more time.
We should be serving some more time, but they was like,
even had a movie.
We would not have had a movie, but they was like, all right, look, we need you to fuck up out of here. Get out. So they just kicked him out. Yeah, he hopped out and hopped into the limo of Magenta, and they like start talking about the idea of building new androids, and they discussed it over like Oreos and soda because Hedo's got the taste buds of a child. And Hedo is like, interestingly enough, he's like actually a fan of heroes rather than villains. And of course, when they say heroes in Dragon Ball Z world, they mean like some Great Saiyan Man, Super Sentai type shit. And he was like, yeah, I would rather build like heroes than villains. And it shouldn't have worked, and it didn't work. We find out later on. But Magenta's like, oh, we gonna create world peace through like, building the right army, and we gonna take over the world, and it's gonna be peace. So we gonna be heroes for peace. And Hedo later on is like, yeah, I knew it was kind of bullshit. I just kind of wanted the money and I wanted to invent shit. So at least they covered that because it could have been a plot hole, right? It could have been some bullshit. But I mean, like he was like, don't worry about it. Because at first, like he's not gonna join, and Carmine like threatens him with a gun. But like we learn, Hedo can apparently like finish off anybody that threatens him with like the venom in his insect, which like damn near causes a car crash when he like reveals the insect is in the car and can take Carmine out. And so like you see the car spinning for way too long, and for way too long there's like a crotch shot on Hedo where I was like,
yeah,
okay, so everybody else noticed that too, right?
That.
Yeah.
I think I must have looked away during that moment because I don't remember it.
It was several moments you looked away because
Yes.
it
was there.
The limo starts spinning, and then they just like do a crotch shot of Hedo for like a while. And he's like, oh, I'm like, why am I seeing
Hedo or X-Pac?
I was like, why am I seeing this man nuts for so long? Like, bro, let's move on. But like, interestingly enough, like what they do is spin it. And Magenta's like, yeah, the real villain. Like at first it's like, oh yeah, the guy who stopped Cell. And I don't know why people still think that Hercule stopped Cell, but apparently that's just commonly believed. It's like how back in the day in the 90s, DC would say, yeah, nobody thinks Batman exists. He's an urban legend. Nigga would be hanging out with the Justice League, but like inside the universe, everybody thought Batman was just a myth. Like, man, if you don't get the fuck out of here, and just like that, like, if you don't get the fuck out of here, how in the fuck did Hercule beat Satan? Hercule beat Cell. Y'all know good and fuck well he didn't. Stop it. But like, eventually Magenta's like, nah, Hercule's not the real villain. It's actually aliens working for the Capsule Corporation. And at first I thought it was a joke, but the more he explained it, the more I was like, it don't make sense, but it totally makes sense. Like if
to
you really
to
thought
regular
it, like,
people, I could see them seeing the weird stuff that goes on at Capsule Corp and them just being like, I guess they have aliens over there or something. It's so weird because it's like the dragon is summoned, so Shinron is summoned so much now that you would think people would have they would know at least like what the Dragon Balls are, but they kind of just take it as just Capsule Corp's wacky experiments again, I guess.
Oh, there's a dragon out there. Must be Capsule Corp.
It's like, oh, it must be some type of new hard like tech or some shit. They just let it go. But like Magenta's like, bro, like think about it. They have like miniaturization tech and they come out with all this new technology that nobody could ever possibly have. The only way it makes sense is if they have aliens that they hooking up with. And I was like, no, but yeah, kind of, And so like he makes the point of like, I think aliens are looking to conquer the Earth through Capsule Corp, and to prove it, he shows like a fight between Frieza and Trunks. To which I'm like, if you got that fight, how come you didn't have Gohan beating Cell? Don't worry about it. So like, and like the cool thing or the crazy thing is they build Cell as like a freedom fighter. And the androids turned out to be like traitors who chose to work with for Capsule Corp. I was like, wow, this shit goes deep. Like, goddamn, like I was sitting there like, and I guess this is the part where Keem would say the film was slowing down because there was a lot of exposition. I was typing my ass off. I'm sitting there. Fortunately, the theater was damn near empty. We went and saw it, and we saw like the sub version. So it was really just me, Raheem, our roommate Tyler, and like maybe 2 other people in the theater. So like 5 people in this theater to go see the film. So like nobody really paid attention to me typing out notes. But like I was sitting there typing my ass off because it was hella exposition. But like one of the things they used to prove it, like, the final bit of proof is like, bro was like, also that monster Majin Buu. And I was like, damn, how do y'all know Majin Buu? And then I remember like the Buu saga, like he literally killed everybody.
Yeah.
Like, everybody.
It's kind of hard to forget that.
I know, right? You got one death counter up, like somehow. And then like he was like, he works with they work with Majin Buu and the Demon King Piccolo, to which no.
How y'all know about that?
Well, remember in Dragon Ball, Piccolo was the first like real big worldwide threat. Like he popped up, or his dad popped up, Demon King Piccolo, and was like tearing shit up. And I guess they just kind of, and then also the son showed up to like the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai to fight Goku. Yeah. So like I guess they just remember all of that.
Yeah. Well, cool. Wasn't there a day that Demon King Piccolo made like today from Hero 4th on? It's like Piccolo Day or something like that.
I think he did.
Was that a thing?
I'm pretty sure he did that. I'd have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure that happened.
You probably right. But yeah, I mean, like it was interesting to see them tie all those arcs together because a lot of times they really only mention like the current villain and maybe like the very last villain they fight. Like if you're in the Cell Saga, they'll bring up Frieza, but they're not bringing up the Saiyans no more because I mean, obviously that's not their enemy. Like they really not enemies no more. But if you in the Buu Saga, they mentioned Cell in passing, but they never really talk about Frieza no more because like he's so far in the past, he's so weak compared to them, they just don't care. But this film really had a lot of nods to older film, like to older arcs and older films. So
it's May 9th or I guess May 13th in the dub, so it's like depending on the day how it's translated. But it's actually like King Piccolo Day. It was the day that he ruled the earth. Like he officially conquered the earth. He declared it Piccolo Day. Yeah, that was in Dragon Ball.
Okay. Okay. That's why. Because I'm.
Yeah.
What's up, Keen?
Oh, now you were talking about it, and I thought about it. I was like, it's actually kind of cool to see an outside perspective on that because in Dragon Ball they so focus on the Z fighters and that specific crew so much. The outside world is really an afterthought. They're really just fodder a lot of the times.
They're NPCs.
And I always wondered, like, man,
yes,
exactly, they're NPCs. And I always wondered, like, man, you live in this world where there's like dinosaurs and aliens and giant monsters and energy waves and spirit bomb stuff going on, and everybody's like, hey, everything's fine. Like, it's kind of cool to see like the
world
conspiracy
building.
theories the world building, like the conspiracy theories people will have if they knew aliens existed or had contact with them and like how that stuff would happen. I can see that happen in the real world if we had some stuff like that happen. We didn't understand all the details of it.
I agree. Like it was really nice to see some type of world building to the movie. So like, and there's a lot of it going on in the film. Anyway, months later, like 3 months later, we see Pan training with Piccolo, and she's developing like really quickly. Piccolo is literally just granddad now. Like he ain't Demon King no more, which he says multiple times in the film. Like they bring up like Demon King Piccolo. He's like, nah, it's just Piccolo now.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to learn how to, fire off ki blast, but she can't fly. And Piccolo's like, nah, you gotta run before you can walk, or in this case, you gotta fly before you can fire ki blast. And she can hold whole conversations at 3, which is very weird to me. Like this is like a super genius kid, and it reminds me of that criticism, or like the not criticism, but like the nod everybody gave toward Anya from Spy Family, where she actually acts like a child, but like Pan acts like she's like 7 or 8.
Hey, remember,
like,
that was the thing with Gohan too. Like Gohan, when he first showed up, wasn't he like 4 or 5? Like he was really young.
4, I think, at the start of this Dragon Ball Z, and 5 by the time of the Saiyan saga.
Yeah, so if you think all the stuff that Gohan went through, like, yeah, he was, an exceptional before he even hit 10. Like, even technically, like, what we call teen Gohan isn't really a teen. He's still, like, what, 11 or 12?
12.
Yeah. So, yeah, they kind of, they make everybody precocious in, I guess, Dragon Ball in some way.
Yeah, but like, even then, like, if you go back and think about, like, when Gohan first faced Raditz, or like when Gohan got kidnapped by Raditz, he was about the age of Pan, like maybe a year older.
Yeah.
And to me, I feel like he was a little more childlike. Pan is barely childlike at all. Like there's parts of the movie later which I really enjoyed, but I'm like, this ain't no fucking 3-year-old. Like y'all got to stop. Like she about 8. Like y'all got to quit playing about these kids' ages. That's why I appreciate Anya so much, because like she legitimately acts like a 4-year-old. Like the stuff she does. Yeah, the way she like acted, like how excited she be about simple shit, and how she'd be like, I helped, and her dad would be like, all you did was sat there eating peanuts, and she'd be like, I can't believe you snitched on me. She had the shock face on her face. Like that's how an actual child behaves. Like not like Pan. Pan is not nobody's child. Like they need, well, not nobody's preschooler. They need to stop that.
I think they tried to write that off in a way somewhere in the towards the end of the film about like how Saiyans grow, but I don't think that applies to them mentally. It more just physically.
Yeah, that's how
they stay small, and then
that's how they wrote off Goten and Trunks staying the same height for like 8 years or whatever. But that's not the same to me as like being mentally more advanced. But also like Goten and Trunks still acted like some whole kids back, like when they in Super, when they should have been kind of grown or growing up. Yeah. They were still acting like children. Like they pick and choose, and there's no consistency, which is part of why I don't take Dragon Ball Super, or just Dragon Ball in general. That's part of why I don't take it seriously, because it doesn't take itself seriously. They just kind of like they have no internal consistency. So I'm like, all right, well, it just is what it is.
It was nice seeing later in the movie, at least later, like a little spoiler, Goten and Trunks a little bit older. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I do think that Pan is a highlight of the movie. Like she's adorable, and she's really she's just a really I like where she is right now. I don't know like how much they plan to age her up in the future, but where she is now, I like it. It's good.
Agreed. So Piccolo has is off, Pan goes off to preschool, and Piccolo's like, all right, well, time to go back to training, which for him is just like Indian pose. Is that what they still call it? I'm hoping I'm not being like insensitive or whatever, but y'all know what I'm saying.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Doing like the mental training and shit. The same shit he been doing since like the first episode of Dragon Ball Z. And then like in the middle of like training, in his mental training, he gets like a phone call. He has a cat phone for whatever reason. And he talks to Pan.
Let me just say that was probably one of the funnier parts of the movie, was him like on the phone, like holding it like this and calling it. It's just that little stuff like that. Yeah, like him holding the phone, like,
he's like a real old man.
Yeah, just little stuff like that just humanizes Piccolo and just shows like how far he's come from, where we started in Dragon Ball. It's just really cool. I do like that.
Right.
Yeah. I love that part.
Yeah.
But he picks up the phone, and Vidal's on the phone, and she's like, well, look, I got to teach this class because I'm training people, even though I hadn't fought since I got my shit pushed in back in that one tournament arc during Majin Buu Saga. and y'all know what I'm talking about because
I
she
know
had.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
What was
I
it,
know.
Spopovich that laid her out?
Yes, Spopovich.
Man,
Yeah.
Spopovich put
One of the worst
Oh,
ass
like
whoopers in
give
Dragon
man to
Ball.
work.
Man. And she was like, yeah, I'm teaching a little combat class, whatever the fuck she was teaching. And he was like, well, shit, Gohan, get him. Like, that's her dad. And she was like, oh, well, he's training and this and that. And he was like, I mean, I guess. She was like, oh, what's up?
Well, I don't know how I feel about. Is it weird that pretty much the people that were the villains now turned heroes are better fathers than the actual characters that started out heroes? It just
So
isn't.
You talking about Vegeta and Piccolo?
Vegeta and Piccolo,
Yes.
and then now you have Goku and I guess Gohan now kind of falling into the. Well, he's not a bad father, but he's being obviously neglectful in this movie, and I'm just kind of like, are we really going down this path of making Gohan like a somewhat bad father? Like,
Yes.
He learned from the
apparently.
best.
Yes.
He learned
Yeah,
from the best.
that's how he learned. He learned his dad wasn't that great of a dad, and so now he's learned from like his dad. Like, hey man, the shit that I want comes before my kid. So it's a little ridiculous.
hey man, we're supposed to be breaking generational curses.
He ain't read them books, bro. He
like, I'm
he's
hey,
busy
at least
reading
I'm at the
books for
house.
his research. He is at the house, but he ain't reading them self-help books. He's too busy reading research papers. So like, he goes and he's like, yeah, I'll pick her up. She's like, oh, I'll give you a snack. He was like, bitch, I only drink water, which is a great callback to like how we learned that Namekians don't actually eat food; they only ever drink water. But like, he's like, he to pick her up for preschool. And man, this man has been completely domesticated because he was just like, yeah, I'll go pick up for preschool. I'm like, you might as well go to the PTA meetings. Like, what's going on?
Bro.
But before he does that, he's like, man, fuck this, and he goes to Gohan's place and it's just like, hey man, I'm on your ass. Like, you can't take care of your own daughter, my guy. And he was like, Piccolo, I got this research paper to worry. He was like, I ain't trying to hear none of that bullshit. Like, that's your job. Like, I'm not even. I didn't even have you, my guy. Like, so like, why am I taking care of your grandkids? Like, what's going on? But like, Gohan is like, bro, can you please? I gotta work on this research paper. I can't fight and I can't work on and I can't take care of my kids. I can't do nothing. Like, all right, bro, whatever. But Piccolo is up. Not only does he get on his ass for like not picking up Pan, but he's also like, hey, bro, you got to get back to training. And pick Gohan at this point, and this is the criticism that Terrence has brought up, but now I got to bring it up myself. Gohan says something incredibly stupid and goes, do you really think we'll ever be challenged again? And I'm like, bro,
you just
how
fought
many times?
in like this major multi-universal tournament, and you talk about, are we not going to be challenged again? Gohan, what are you doing?
What are you doing? That is correct.
Exactly.
I'm like, how many people got to come to Earth looking for the smoke, looking to piece y'all up before you like, all right, you right. Maybe I should just stay on my P's and Q's, keep training, make sure I'm ready, and whenever the smoke comes, because the smoke is always coming to y'all. Like, there's no way around it. Goku was like, you know what? I'm going to just leave. I'm going to be dead, and maybe the smoke will stop finding us, and the rest of the universe was like, no, it's a smoke-seeking missile. Like, bro, we looking for you. We want the Anna. We always want the Anna. Like, Majin Buu came up out of nowhere, and he just happened to be on Earth. Like, bro, it's going to always be y'all, so just stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yeah,
but, like,
exactly.
Before he can try to pick Pan up, he's attacked by Android Gamma 2, I believe. I believe that's the guy that attacked him.
Yeah, just
and
Gamma
he's
2,
a little,
yeah,
Gamma 2's a little goofy as the personality creator. Surprisingly, their fight was kind of even. The weirdest thing about the fight was when Gamma 2 attacked, visible sound effects appear for some reason. Like a fucking Batman movie. Like the 1960s Adam West Batman. Pow! Dokkan. Like, it's like, bro, what in the fuck is going on? He fires a giant energy beam that literally says Dokkan, and then thinks Piccolo's dead, but of course Piccolo's like, nah, I mean, better than you have tried to kill me, my guy. So like, I'm finna get away. What's up?
There was a nice little scene like later on in the movie where he's talking to Hedo, and like they actually show like the projector of the words like behind him when he's doing the poses and stuff. Like Hedo actually programmed that to look that way for him when he fights. That was pretty cool.
I totally missed that scene.
Wow, I missed that too.
There's some stuff that, from what I've heard, that goes on in the background of the movie. If you actually pay attention, it kind of like shows little details to certain things. So yeah, I can see what Rakeem was talking about. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Like that kind of makes you want to like see it again just to catch all the stuff that I missed. But so like Piccolo traces Gamma 2 back to base in some of the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen. He like finds a dude, knocks him out like it's fucking Metal Gear Solid, puts him away, takes his outfit, and just starts creeping around. And nobody says anything about this giant 7-foot green alien just because he wears some shades. Like,
you know what I hate about that whole scene
What's
is that I
up?
think someone caught on to him during the fucking meeting. Someone said, "You looking a little green." That man said, "You need to see shit."
Yeah, that did happen. Yeah.
It's like, hey man, you looking a little green. Oh man, it's something I ate. I'm like, bro, like, how are y'all falling for this? Like, y'all got the security of like a minimum wage worker that's just there in like the middle of the night, and they just like, bro, I don't care if you walk out with everything in this bitch. Like, I could give a fuck less. Like, y'all are trying to dominate the world. Like, y'all realize that, right? Like, that's the whole plan. You got a whole pocket dimension from the looks of things, and yet Piccolo can sneak in, knock out a random dude, and wear his clothes, and nobody found the guy he knocked out.
Yeah, and you know what? That scene gets even worse too, because towards the end of that whole scene of him infiltrating, he's behind the bush on his phone with Bulma. One of the guards spoke to him naturally, said, "Hey, what's up?" Piccolo spoke back and carried on like nothing was
He's
going
like,
on.
"Hey, how you doing?"
God was like, guess he talking to his old lady, man. You know how it is.
Nah, I
man.
guess he talking to the side chick. Like, oh, you ducked out talking to your side chick, huh? I'm like, oh, okay, I see how it is. What's up, guy? I'll holler at you later. I see you at lunch.
Bro.
Also,
up, King?
shout out to the red ribbon vase. When they revealed it, I was like, this looks freaking amazing. It looks like so technologically advanced, like huge.
Yeah.
I like Wakanda in that motherfucker.
Which just raises further questions as to why their security was so shit. They put so much work into this, but it looked like a city. That
Yeah.
base
Yeah.
looked like a whole city unto itself. And like Piccolo was just able to sneak in and out, not once, but twice. Was like, hey man, it is what it is. Also, I'm gonna call Bulma and whatnot. Speaking of, they call in and he's like, they talk about like Gamma 1 and Gamma 2, and Gamma 1 points out Piccolo could have survived, shows the evidence that he probably did survive, to which Gamma was like, I don't believe he survived. If he did, I don't think he found our base. And I'm like,
Right there.
y'all are the worst androids by far. There's a point in here where like they point out like the fact that like they've tried to work out like some kind of hierarchy for the Capsule Corps army, and they're like, I think Goku and Vegeta are like mid-tier bosses, and Hercule and Majin Buu, we don't know what their powers are yet. And I'm like, bro, y'all have gotten this entirely fucked up. But I mean, hang in there, guys. What's up, Keem? You got something?
Oh, but say shout out to Bulma, be the ringleader. They had like in the background, like the overlord over all of them. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean, Bulma is a pretty central figure now, so that's not really too
she
far off.
actually
I
has
guess.
a really important purpose that we'll talk about in just a second. But their plan, like they reveal their plan, is to make a bunch of copies of the Gammas to take over the world from Bulma and the government. And I mean, like technically, Bulma kind of does run the world. Like not directly, but like her business is the most powerful business in the world. So that technically you running shit. And it's at this point that Cell Max is mentioned for the first time. Hedo mentioned Cell Max is strong, but his brain don't work too good yet. Hedo also doesn't want to make him because he looks too much like a villain, which I was like, yeah, fair enough. It's at this point now where we're about a third of the way through the film, and Broly, they finally cut away and show Broly training with Goku and Vegeta, specifically Goku, and Broly can't control his full power yet, but he's getting there. Like you can tell he's like experienced a lot of growth, and he doesn't have that same animosity towards Goku. Like there's a point at which Goku's like, hey man, calm down. Like, bro, I ain't trying to like get into no big ass fight. And Broly like, all right, you right, my bad. To which I was like, all right, cool. Because I kind of, like I said, I like Super Broly. I hate old school Broly, but Super Broly is cool by me. This is also the first time, like, while they're training, like Vegeta's doing a different kind of training, and like at one point, basically, hold on just a second. Vegeta talks about like a new way to use their power. He's like meditating, like Piccolo for whatever reason, which is weird because that's not how he gets his power in the manga, like the Ultra Ego thing. That's not what he's doing at all. He's like literally just fighting it out. It's like a berserker thing.
Yes.
He's like, nah, that's probably not. You say what?
Speaking.
Oh, okay. That's probably not the ultimate way to get power, which I'm like, yeah, it can't be. Like, you getting your ass beat until you can turn on this power up. That can't be the way, my guy. But this is like the first time they brought up Jiren and the multiverse for in a while, because like Goku basically says, "Hey, Vegeta, you gotta train with us. Like, we gotta get strong. Like, it's a lot of stronger people out there." And like it throughout the manga and throughout Dragon Ball Broly, they've really never brought up like the multiverse to the point I was like, are y'all ever gonna get back to this? Like, y'all got like what 12 other universes you could go explore, and y'all haven't done anything with any of them. It's so weird. But like finally, Goku's like, "Hey man, we should probably do something about that." But when Vegeta goes like, "Yeah, there's probably a better way to use our power than what we're using," Whis shows up. Whis is like, "Yeah, I appreciate you for finally figuring it out." And it's obvious that this is kind of leaning towards what Toriyama thinks should be the next level of their power. And this causes Whis to go like, "Hey man, y'all should all fight." But at this point, Beerus shows up and he's been like asleep for 4 months. And he looks over and he's like, "Broly? What the fuck your big ass doing here?" And he's like, apparently Broly, they kind of, I don't know if they're kind of tying into the manga a little bit, or not tying into, because it's basically different canons at this point. I don't know if they're tying, like referencing the manga, but basically they kind of hint like Broly is trying to stay away from Frieza. And like the way he pieced Frieza up in the original, I'm like, he shouldn't be worried about no Frieza unless Frieza got that black form that we've been talking about lately. If he got that, then yeah, he should have to run, because like
Is that
Broly
it?
got.
Is that
You
the
say
next
what?
stage we're going to? Is that all these transformations are now just going to be colors? We got Super Saiyan Blue, we got Black Frieza, and now we have Orange Piccolo.
Orange Piccolo, Gohan, Blanco, we got it all, bro. Like it's just colors now.
Black
It's
Frieza
Sensei.
says, "You Negroes in trouble."
Yeah, they in trouble. But like Beerus is basically, Broly is basically like, they're kind of hiding out from Frieza, presumably because, you know, Frieza got the black form. That's not confirmed. That's just what I think. I don't know if y'all agree. But Beerus kind of doesn't really give a shit. He's like, "Hey man, I kind of don't want y'all on my planet." But then like he notices that one of Broly's friends can cook, and he was like, "You know what? Y'all can stay. Y'all stay by me." Meanwhile, Chila is busy trying to steal everything, not nailed down, which is weird considering she knows whose planet she's on. She even knows who Beerus is, what he looks like. That was kind of strange. But Beerus gets a look at Miss Fan Service and decides she can stay because she got them cheeks. Speaking of
There's a lot of
cheeks,
cheeks in this movie.
I was just about to. Speaking of cheeks, they've been showing Bulma's cakes at this point for a while. Like when they first show her, she's on the phone. She like laid up with her cheeks out. I'm like, what is going on? And there's a reason for this. It comes back later. Chila shows up and Beerus, apparently that's his type, like thick green babes. Which I mean, like, you know, I've seen She-Hulk, so I understand.
Yeah.
But they flash back to Bulma again, and like the first thing you see is again her cheeks, and I'm like, all right, well that's weird, but I mean, you know, I guess we doing a little bit of fan service, like little tiny bits of fan service or whatever. But they finally get to fighting, and it's like I thought it was a solid battle. I don't think it was like no top tier battle, but I thought the Goku versus Vegeta little sparring session, I thought it was solid. There's no speed lines. They didn't like rely on that old, you know, trope. It's just them beating the hell out of each other, knocking each other around. You know, it's a lot of wrestling moves in this, like for whatever reason.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
But yeah, I mean, like the fight is straight, so I was like, all right, cool. But while everybody is watching the fight and eating a shit ton of ice cream, Bulma calls in because like Piccolo at this point has called Bulma and been like, "Yo, we might need Goku and Vegeta. Like, you know, we always getting cooked out here, and we need Goku and Vegeta to like save us and save the planet." And Bulma tries to find like the item necessary to contact them, but it doesn't matter because when she does, like, apparently they've tossed ice cream boxes everywhere like some fucking savages and covered with his staff, so he doesn't even notice that she's calling in. In the meantime, Piccolo tries getting some Zensu beans, but he only picks up like 2 for whatever reason. And
I think that was all that Corrin had left.
That was all that was all that Corrin had left. But it's the dumbest thing ever because of how the Sensu beans play out later. We'll get into that in a second.
Well, okay.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about too.
So at this point, Piccolo is like, "Man, you know what? Like, I might have to handle this myself." And Corrin's like, "What about Gohan?" And Piccolo is again like, "Bro, he's been doing no training. I don't want his help." The androids, they can't be used because they might have weaknesses that the Red Ribbon Army can abuse. And so Piccolo gets the idea to like go to Dende and do the thing because he's apparently talked to Gohan. He's like, hey man, what if I got that power unlock shit you got on Namek? So he goes up to Dende, and Dende's like, I mean, like, I've seen him do it, but I'm not leveled up enough to do it. But he's like, but the Dragon Balls can do it. And apparently Dende can update the Dragon Balls. Like, he was able to pull out the same water that Goku drank during like the Piccolo arc, the Super Ultra Divine, well, whatever the fuck he did, and leveled up the Dragon Ball. I mean, leveled up Shenron. And I'm like, yeah. Rakeem, how did you feel about that?
I ain't gonna lie, bro. That was the one like mega pet peeve I had. Cause I was like, yo, this don't make no sense.
The Dragon Balls the Dragon Balls have gone beyond being this Deus Ex Machina thing. You know, they can just solve anything now. I mean, the fact that, you know, even in the manga, we have characters using the Dragon Balls to gain more power. I mean, hell, Piccolo, that's how he gained power in this movie. So it's like, shit. Goku used them to gain the Super Saiyan God form. So,
well, Goku used them to find out how Super Saiyan God worked, which I was okay with because I'm like, you just using it to gain like some lost knowledge. He didn't just say, hey, just hand me the power.
The gaining power stuff didn't bother me as much as, oh yeah, we could have always did the 3 wishes thing. You just got to pour this water on here. It's like, bro, you just telling us this now? You could have learned that this years ago.
He had to get the Ultra Divine water, and that took him a little bit of time. Like, you know, he had to get the extra special. He had to go get a priest to bless it. He forgot he was a priest, and he could have done
priest,
it himself.
He's God.
Yeah, exactly. He knew he couldn't get no Arrowhead or no Dasani water because that shit trash. So he was like, I gotta go find the right kind of spring water to get me where I need to be. Like,
touch it like 2%. There we go.
Yeah, it's not holy. You know,
it's not.
So like, they like level up the Dragon Balls, which is weird because it made it sound like you just need enough skill points to max them out like an RPG. But then they're like, where are the Dragon Balls? And Bulma apparently has been gathering the balls and making wishes, just random bullshit, which is a callback to like the old school first arc of Dragon Ball with Oolong, where he was like, I just want the most comfortable pair of panties or whatever. Like that was like that's apparently what she's been doing. She's been making wishes to keep them inactive with just straight up nonsense, which means like she's actually been saving the earth, kind of like low key with her bullshit vain ass wishes that do nothing for anybody but herself. She's been keeping people from coming and being like, where y'all Dragon Balls at? Like, yeah, it's too late. They inactive yet again. You lost. So like that was kind of interesting to me. So they gather the Dragon. They asked Bulma to use the Dragon Balls. Shenron comes out, and Piccolo has his dormant powers brought out for a quick power up that was like annoyingly easy. And then the extra weird part was that Shenron was like, let me throw in a little extra for you.
He was so casual, bro.
Hey man, you wanted to fade, but you know what? I'm gonna sharpen your stuff up a little bit more. You know,
they made Shenron the plug, and he said, "I got a little something extra for you since you're a consistent customer. Y'all been good by me. Y'all been good by me, so I got a little something extra for you."
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I said, "Hold on, what the fuck?" I said, "What the fuck, man?" Like he just a little extra. I'll put a little extra in the 8th. Like, man, if you don't get the fuck quick. Like, I was so upset because I remember distinctly when Krillin was the smartest guy in the room, and it was like, man, them Saiyans about to show up and whoop our ass. Like, we didn't had a rough time training, and who knows if we strong enough to beat them. Why don't we just wish on the Dragon Balls to wish them niggas away? At which point Shenron himself said, look, I can't do that. I'm not as strong as the Saiyans. But apparently he can just give Piccolo some extra power to fight somebody that theoretically is stronger than Majin Buu at this point. I don't get it. So Piccolo gets the extra wish, and then Bulma waits the other 2 wishes to get them cakes and get her eyelashes changed by like 2 millimeters. And then like as soon as he grants the wishes and dips out, Bulma realizes they could have just wished Goku and Vegeta back. A giant fucking plot hole that reminds me like, oh yeah, don't take this fucking film seriously. Because you know what the other plot hole is that nobody brought up? They also could have wished to make Gohan stronger.
Ooh.
They could have just did that. Could have just been like, hey, man, you know what? Just wish to make Gohan stronger. Like, fuck that shit. You know, throw in a little extra for Gohan, too. Like, give him a couple extra grams to the 8th. Like, what are we talking about? Like, you could have just done that. But like, nah, we just gonna have to rely on Piccolo and Piccolo alone. Like, all right, bet. So they go back to the Red Ribbon base, and here like they describe Gohan as a shadow boss, which I'm like, that's way cooler than what Gohan actually is. But all right, cool.
I swear.
They try to lure Gohan back by like kidnapping Pan, and Hedo is like, hey man, I've been trying to have like hero androids, and I don't think heroes be kidnapping kids. To which Magenta's like, hey, stay in your lane, fat boy. And I'm like, all right, this is like at this point, Hedo, you should kind of be like, all right, I got my androids made. I used y'all money up. Fuck y'all. Y'all can't stop me no way. I got the suit. I got my skin. It's impervious to bullets, and I can just make the Gamma twins just beat y'all asses, and we move on. But apparently he was like, no, I'm gonna ride this out. Piccolo basically has snuck back into the base, and he's like, look, I can help you kidnap Pan. I live right next to Gohan, which should have sent up some type of red fucking flag, but it didn't because the Red Ribbon Army were idiots in Dragon Ball, and they idiots now. And like, especially since with a base this big, y'all should really just live there. Like, I didn't understand what in the hell was going on. They really should have just lived there, but it was just like, whatever. But instead of knocking the other guard that they send with Piccolo out, Piccolo decides this is the genius time to use this as like a training opportunity for Gohan, which should just tell you how serious he was really taking the shit. And the Red Ribbon Army tries to kidnap Pan. It's like this big swole ass dude that runs over and is like, hey, come along with me. And Pan just knocks him out with like a single fucking punch.
Mm-hmm.
And Piccolo shows up seconds later, and she's like, oh shit, it's Piccolo. Hey, Grandpa Piccolo. And it's at this point, Piccolo's like, all right, look, I need you to come along, pretend to be kidnapped. And she just kind of nods her head and it's like, yeah, I'll pretend. And, I'll tie up and, I can break out whenever. And it's at this point that I'm amused by the film. And I'm like, the film is good. This film is okay. Like, I was amused just enough. Like Terrence said, Pan is carrying this film for me just enough for me to be like, this film is all right.
Oh, wait. There is a detail we forgot to add about this whole kidnap Pan thing.
What's up?
Piccolo pretty much that serious gave away that he knows Gohan when he went to the fucking window and then
man, he did. He just skirted the window and actually we're gonna get into that. Here. So like, yeah, because he was like, yeah, you really must be familiar with this place. I'm like, that's beyond familiar, my guy. Like you being set up. So they talk Gohan into going to like the Red Ribbon base because they don't want to have this fight out in the open because that might draw too much attention. Attract Goku and attract Goku and Vegeta and all the other dangerous people. And so they grab him and they show off Pan and they think that's going to intimidate Gohan. But what actually happens is Gohan destroys his own fucking house and terrifies the guy into pissing himself. He's like, bro, please, like We'll just take you there. Like, just don't fuck us up. Don't fuck us up. And I mean, like, Piccolo is, of course, like, I mean, I'm gonna be all right, but you might be, you might get cooked, my guy. So you think Gohan would learn his lesson, but like Terrence said, like, we just gonna keep redoing the same plot point over and over again. So like, they drag him back to like the Red Ribbon base, and it's at this point we get the fight scene in the rain that they've been advertising, where Gamma 1 shows up. He gets his chance to fight. He talks about how he's a superhero because superheroes kidnap kids all the time. The fight scene in the rain, I thought it was cool. What did y'all think?
I did like the fight scene in the rain.
I think it was fine. Yeah, I thought it was fine. I love it. I'll say that since we hadn't really talked about them that much, Gamma 1 and Gamma 2, I actually like them. I like them. I think that they were cool. Well, really more Gamma 2 because Gamma 2 really gets more characterization than really 1. And in the English dub, shouts to Zeno Robinson. He voices Gamma 2 and he's really good at it. But yeah, I like both of those characters. I think that they were really solid for this movie.
And I also like the Gammas too because as I watched them, and even though Gamma 1 doesn't get as much characterization as 2, I kind of saw them almost like parallels to Goku and Vegeta in a way.
Yeah.
Like,
and you know what?
Like Vegeta 2 was more like Goku.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
And you're talking about the characterization based on what happens at the end of the movie. I can see why they don't give as much characterization to 1 as they do to 2. Yeah, I mean for obvious reasons. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, we gonna get into that.
On top of that, I did also like as a person who like Kamen Rider or Sentai. And I'm sure Sage appreciated it too. A lot of Kamen Rider references with Gamma 1 and 2, like the Rider kicks,
Tons.
and attacks and poses. Like they are like basically Kamen Riders put into the Dragon Ball Z universe, which is pretty
Absolutely. Cool. At least this time Gohan doesn't have any problems going Super Saiyan like fucking Resurrection F. Like he's got past that. He kind of goes into Gear 2 with Super Saiyan pretty easily. And then we learn, well, we kind of learned this before, but like this is where it really kind of drove it home. The Gammas can't make energy beams. They have to use guns, which seems like a terrible fucking weakness.
The power
it reminded. Say what, Terrence?
Well, let me just say the power scale in this movie was really weird. It's like I don't know where the androids stand, and then also another thing is like I don't know where Piccolo is right now. It's kind of weird. Like there's no real. I don't know. Does that make sense to you all? Like it seems like I can't.
Yes.
I can't.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
I can't quite understand where everyone's power is in this movie. It's just really weird.
It felt like when I saw the Gammas, like they could not. It felt like to me when I was watching, these guys don't feel like they're at the level where 17, 18 were.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
but they came out really fast anyway. Like they can't even use energy waves. Like it just felt like they were It felt like they were overconfident, and like Piccolo was like kind of like
overcautious, really.
Over precautious to how strong they really were.
Yeah,
I guess because every threat they fight, they're usually stronger than them. So maybe it was like these guys are serious threat. Like I was like watching, like I feel like if Gohan and you took this seriously, like really seriously, you could beat these guys. I
felt like that too, but I feel like that in movies is constantly a thing, especially in Dragon Ball Z movies. You never really get a good feel for the power scaling. You're just kind of like, I don't know how strong this guy is, like in because like I totally understand where you're coming from, Terrence. I didn't complain about it because I've kind of given up on Dragon Ball Z power scaling in general. But like, yeah, it absolutely was a problem. Like, I don't know how strong the androids are in relation to, say, the enemies they fought in the Tournament of Power. I don't know how much stronger Gohan and Piccolo got with their new power-up forms. Like, would they be able to fight Jiren somewhat equally at this point? Would they get, like, they shit put in the dirt? Would they be able to fight Top? Would they be able to fight Top at all? Like, what is how strong are they now in relation to like how strong they were in the Tournament of Power? And I never really got a sense of what that would be like. So
yeah.
But in the middle of the fight, Piccolo notices that Gamma can adapt to Gohan's weaknesses. I mean, to his strengths, which leads to Gamma like giving out some wrestling moves to like Gohan. I was like, what in the fuck is going on? But I mean, like, there's a lot of wrestling references to this. I don't know if they was watching New Japan as they was building this movie out or what.
Maybe they were doing the choreography for it. I don't know. Maybe it was Okada and Tanahashi in the green screen doing Gohan and Gamma. Gohan had a mean brain bust this movie too, by the way.
I was just about to say it. Because like Gamma 1 starts to get the upper hand on Gohan. But at this point, they've kind of learned how to manipulate Saiyans. So just like in Dragon Ball Super Broly, Piccolo draws some more power out of Gohan by pretending to hurt Pan. And he's just like, they were like, man, fuck Super Saiyan 2. I'm going straight to Mystic or whatever the fuck they call it now. Ultimate, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
I think it's called Mystic.
I mean, it used to be called Mystic. I
think they just call it Ultimate Gohan now.
Yeah.
That's pretty much just what they call it. Yeah.
I prefer Mystic, but it is
Same.
what it is. He goes into Mystic form and gives out a beautiful fucking brain buster. Like, I was like, holy shit. Like, took him out. Gamma 2 decides to chip in, and he thinks he's going to have an easy victory, like working with Gamma 1. But then that's when Piccolo shows up, and he got light-skinned Piccolo now, so he's like unable to be like, he's able to match Gamma 2 blow for blow and actually surpass him a little bit. But then Piccolo explains how, dumb all this shit is. But he gets like cooked after he explains it. Like he's like, yeah, I don't think this is I don't think y'all are bad people. I just think y'all are like misguided. And Gamma 2's like, I mean, yeah, Gamma 2. Gamma 2's like, fuck it. Like, I mean, we following orders. To which I'm like, yet again, not a thing that heroes say. Heroes don't just blindly follow orders. They just do the right thing because it's the right thing. But as he's getting cooked, he decides to activate his new power, that little something extra that Shenron threw in. And he gets this brand new power that I'm not going to make no jokes about called Orange Piccolo. Orange Piccolo basically feels like Demon King Piccolo made a comeback because he looks buff and angry.
You know what? They missed, they did? They missed the opportunity to call him Big Green.
Ooh.
Big
Like,
Green.
really could have.
That'd have been great.
That's the real Big Green. Big Green. I
Shout
agree.
out to
Let that child
was that
roll.
the UK dub or the Malaysian dub? They called him Big Green.
I think that's the UK dub.
Oh
I thought
yeah.
it was Ocean dub. No, it was UK dub. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
Green. Let that child alone.
So Orange Piccolo beats the brakes off of Gamma 2 like easily, and it's at this point everything's off the wheels. Like the train is entirely off the tracks for the Red Ribbon Army. They tried shooting at him, but you know how that shit work in Dragon Ball. Like, and it's good to have that happen periodically, like to see the Z fighters get shot at, just so people remember like bullets don't work on these guys.
Yeah,
Like,
you
that
saw
shit
when
is
Gohan
over.
like flicked the dude's gun earlier on in the movie.
Oh,
Man,
Oh my God, that
dude
was
pulled the
terrifying.
gun. That shit was hilarious. Like he shows up, he's like, "Hey man, we trying to see you come over here and fight with us." And Gohan's like, "You look at this bitch ass gun. What the fuck is this gun?" And like the guy scrambles over, tries to grab it again, and he's like, "No, I told you, get that gun shit out of here. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it don't work on me. Like, he's too fast to get hit by guns." And Piccolo tanks all the hits. Like, he didn't even bother dodging. He just tanks them. He's like, "Whatever, bro." We leave it. At this point, everybody's like, all right, well, if the guns don't work and Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 don't work, maybe we should get the fuck up out of here. But before they can leave, the daughter of the Sun family is like, no. We've been whooping y'all ass for about 30 years, and I'm not about to break the chain. So she come through and knock out most of the Red Ribbon Army solo. Carmine tries shooting at her, and even that don't work because at this point, Gamma 2 is like, all right, look,
Shooting at girls.
I don't know what's good and what's bad, but I'm pretty sure shooting at a 3-year-old counts as bad. Magenta is like, whoop, we didn't got our ass whooped. It's time to go ahead and get up on out of here. But he wants to activate Cell Max. And he tries to escape. Hedo follows. Hedo's like, bro, what you about to do? Magenta's like, look, I'm tired of hearing that shit. And like, just shoots him multiple times. At which point my roommate Tyler leans over to me. Well, he didn't lean over. He was just like, you know, I thought his skin was bulletproof. And I was like, yeah, that's probably going to come into play later. Later being like literally 5 seconds later. Like, it don't work. And he just like gets back up and is like, I told y'all I'm immune to like a certain degree of harm. And which he used that exact dialogue multiple times in the film. Magenta reveals he's made his own weird, gross modifications with like these weird springy Stretch Armstrong muscles. But Hedo still has that insect. He comes back into play, Hachimaru, which he uses on Magenta, who has like the longest death scene I've ever seen. He's like slowly turning green and screaming and going this way and that way and doing all this bullshit. And you're like, bro, just die like.
He in the back spinning and dancing like P. Diddy in music videos and shit, bro. Like, bro,
Bro was
like,
doing the Michael Jackson Thriller choreography. It felt like.
Like, bro, can you die? Like, he is dancing back there fully. Did you not see his little Vegas Strip girl kicks, bro? He was in there.
He was going through it, bro. He has the longest death scene possible, and Hedo monologues the entire time instead of just being like, "Hey, bitch, just fucking die," and like kicking him or some shit. And instead of, since he has the, you know, does the monologue thing, Magenta gets to activate Cell Max, which is just in time for like the big fight scene. The rest of the Z fighters show up that are remaining. Goten, Trunks, Android 18, Krillin, and am I missing anybody? Bulma shows up too, but I mean, like, obviously she's not a fighter. Finally, Goten and Trunks are at a decent age. They look like adults, and Gohan explains it away. He's like, yeah, they've been looking like this whole time because Saiyans, they weird, they short for a long time, and then they just sprout up like weeds. I'm like, yeah. Y'all sprouted up because you finally tired of using the same character designs. That's what really happened.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Also, we learn Gohan's eyesight without transforming is trash. Like,
that
he
is
can't-
so
he-
goofy.
I swear.
That is so goofy.
Just
I always
go
felt like
work.
the glasses were like a cover, like a Superman thing.
Yeah.
Kind of
did.
hide
It
how
felt like
powerful
it.
he was.
No.
Apparently not.
Apparently, he developed an astigmatism because Chi-Chi wouldn't stop beating him over the head with fucking books. Like, hey, read. She fucked that man vision all up, which damn near got everybody killed.
You would think he'd have LASIK at this point.
what
After
I'm
all that
saying,
research
bruh.
he'd been doing, you think he'd have
After
some
all that
money
research,
to.
knowing Bulma. Come on, bro. Like, how you
Research.
not getting this?
I was finna say, it's so many avenues he could have used. Like he could have asked Videl, who's fucking loaded. He could have asked Bulma, who's fucking loaded. Bulma might not even need to spend no money. She might just have an invention somewhere in her house to be like, just smack him like, hey, there you go, your eyes fixed.
Hey, or use one of those wishes to make your eyesight.
Fix your eyesight. I mean, they wasting wishes on everything else, so why not?
Right.
Hey man, I mean, if we getting Bulma butt lifts and everything, hey, I mean, correct my eyesight while you at it, Shinron.
Exactly. Help me out here.
Did you say Bulma butt lifts?
Yeah, Bulma butt lifts.
Man, built the book BBL, man. That's what's going on in the movie.
What's wild is Shinron didn't even he so used to it now. He ain't say nothing. He wasn't like upset, like, man, I'm a godlike dragon and you wasting my powers on like a goddamn Brazilian butt lift. I'm not. He didn't bother. He was just like, oh yeah, what useless shit do you want from me now?
You know why? He was like, yeah, Boomer. I turned it ass.
Oh, that? Turn it to the
Yo!
side.
You wanted to see them cakes?
You
wanted them Bulma cakes?
You see them?
Your wish has been granted.
This is
Now turn around and make it clap for a real one.
Boy, this went into a whole other direction.
It went in the direction it needed to go.
You know what's funny about that? Because seeing the fan service with Bulma is so weird. Watching Dragon Ball for so long because she always felt like Goku's big sister. Even when they did the fan service in the original Dragon Ball, they did the fan service with the fans. He had no interest at all. He's like, "What is this?" She always felt like Goku's big sister, and like watching the show as a kid, she felt like your big sister. If you have an older sister or something like that, it's kind of weird seeing her fan service. Like she's older now, she's a mother.
She always wanted to be viewed sexually, but like no one on the show ever really viewed her sexually, which causes you to be like, "Oh, I mean, I guess she's just not to be viewed like that." Mm-hmm. And so, like, for her to be like, "I'm trying to, look a little younger. I'm trying to get a tight ass and this and that." I'm like, yeah, I guess. Like, I didn't really feel no type of way. It ain't like Chi-Lai, who very clearly is there to be like,
oh yeah,
eye candy, male gaze bullshit, whatever. It's not like that at all. It's when Bulma does it, it's still like comedy. Also, this is a real side. Like we way off track, but fuck it. I'll get back on track in just a second. Also, Bulma is the fucking worst. Like, all this time she been wasting every year making these fuck ass wishes. She ain't never asked Chi-Chi if she want to look younger. She ain't never asked Chi-Chi to help her. Maybe give me some titties, little cheeks.
You know why?
Get rid of
why?
Bulma selfish
because she still want Goku. That's why.
I'll tell you what. Like she Goku's home girl, not Chi-Chi's. We haven't seen them just hanging out.
Whenever they hang out, they argue.
We never really even see Chi-Chi, to be honest. Chi-Chi's irrelevant. So using any kind of cosmetic work on her would be useless.
Yeah.
She pop up in the TV show, but in the films, you're right. She's not gonna show up.
She don't show up in the film that much.
But that's crazy. Like, because at this point, she's used those Dragon Balls tons of times to look a couple of years younger and just stay like fresh and all that shit. And she just got Chi-Chi out here looking a fresh 55 while Goku still looked 35. Like that's crazy. Like,
which is hilarious because Bulma's older than Chi-Chi, so
yeah, she is.
Them Dragon Balls said, "No, I'm not. I'm gonna be younger than you. I'm gonna get the fuck up out of here." So it's at this point we get to the weakest part of the movie. Cell Max shows up, and I've seen people defend Cell Max, but fuck that bullshit. In my opinion, Cell is the best Dragon Ball Z villain, and they just turned him into some screaming red fucking loser instead of him showing up, talking hella shit, being like, "Square up, I want the strongest person out here because I'm gonna whoop him anyway. They ain't got nothing on me." Like, I want that dude back. Like, Frieza got to come back, and Frieza got to be the whole space racist that he was back in the day, calling everybody monkeys and shit. He got to come back. How come Cell couldn't come back like proper? Like, bring Cell back for legit purposes. Like, even if you gonna kill him off at the end of the movie, at least let him come back and be cool for a little bit. Like, they went to the trouble of casting Norio Wakamoto again to do screaming, and I'm like, bro, he could have actually done Cell's voice. Like, what a waste,
Extremely.
But so they go back in there and they start throwing down. The Gamma show up because just Cell powering up is enough to risk everybody's life. So the Gammas rush after to try to save Hedo, but once Cell Max awakens, like they strength ain't nowhere near enough. They getting beat up. Everybody agrees to fight Cell Max except Krillin, who really could use a scene like what Piccolo got, a power up, some type of color power up, Ruby Krillin or Violet Krillin, like whatever the fuck.
He got that
needs
police
something.
uniform. That's his power up.
Being a cop is definitely not no goddamn power down.
Especially not in this universe.
Hell no.
It was like Pat Labor or Tank Police or something like that.
Nah, this ain't none of no universe where cops are useful and or cool. No. He was just some dude. Patrolman Krillin is not getting the job done. He was like, look, I'll stay behind. I'm like, bro, you still doing this? That's when I got a bad taste in my mouth. It started to remind me of like the old Dragon Ball films where Krillin would always be like a cowardly character that was fucking worthless. And you like, why is he there?
Is it just me, or does it feel like they've been making Krillin smaller? Because he looked really small in this movie. I mean, like from a stature perspective, I don't know if it was just the CG and the way they modeled him, but he just looked really small. Like I don't know.
He looks small to me too.
Yeah, like it's just weird because like when you look back at like Z, I mean, of course he's always been short. I mean, he was just as tall as like Kid Gohan, but like just in this movie, he just looked really puny. I don't know.
I mean, when you say it like that, it's like maybe they made him taller over time and then he got shorter back to like his normal height. Because like at one point he was just a slight bit taller than like 6-year-old Krillin. I mean, 6-year-old Gohan, which is insane.
Yeah.
Like those two characters were the same height, but like Krillin was clearly in his like late 20s or whatever. And it's like, bro, you shouldn't be this height. I don't know.
I guess also super style, they make the characters a bit leaner than what they did in Z, so that could play into it as well. Yeah,
absolutely. However, as annoying as that scene is, like when Cell Max first shows up, there's a great scene not too long after it, where Piccolo attacks Cell Max's weakness and it doesn't work. He just fires off a shit ton of energy, and like everybody gets out of the way except Krillin, Pan, and Bulma. And Krillin is too busy trying to save Bulma, and so the only thing he has left to do is tell Pan to try to fly. And at this point, Pan is able to fly away for like the first time ever. Great scene to me. Did y'all like that?
Oh yeah.
I liked it. Cool. Yeah.
I like that.
That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Gotenks tries to fuse, but he fucking blows it. He turns into like fat
I like this part.
I liked it too because I'm like, really, if this is gonna be Gohan and Piccolo's movie, if Gotenks shows up, like he should be able to make short work of this problem. Like he was always like really powerful, Super Saiyan 3 and all that shit. Which he couldn't even go Super Saiyan in Fat Gotenks mode. So, he tries to fuse. They blow it. He attacks. He gets like knocked back. They ping pong him around. He like cracks Cell Max on top of the head because they have like they know Cell Max's weakness at the top of his head. If you like really hit it with enough force, it'll explode and like all of his cells will blow up at one time. But you gotta make sure you get the fuck out the way because you're gonna get blown up with him if you still in the area.
Yeah.
With nothing else working, Gamma 1 decides to sacrifice himself. He's like, hey,
Gamma
everybody
2.
attack.
Gamma 2.
You're right. It is Gamma 2.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Gamma 2.
It was Gamma 2.
That tries to sacrifice himself?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're right. Because he like...
Because Gamma 1 is the one that is the only one remaining, which is why I was saying earlier that's the reason why Gamma 2 is getting all the characterization. Because, I mean, Gamma 1 is the one that's alive, so he'll probably just show up from now on.
I corrected myself
originally,
like later on in there, but at first I was looking at the notes. My notes still had Gamma 1, but like he does actually say something to differentiate because he's like, yeah, look, Hedo's still alive, so you should probably go protect him. Looks like your scanners are the ones that are inaccurate for the first time. And I was like, okay, that's a cool little moment. He was like, all right, I'm finna go up in here. I'm the little brother, but I'm gonna like, hulk up for dad and big bro and make it work. Gamma 2 decides he's gonna sacrifice himself. Everybody else tries attacking. But surprisingly, the person who comes in handy the most, and this kind of redeems Krillin for his earlier cowardice, Krillin comes in handy by saving his wife and the group with what has to be like the two most useful techniques in Dragon Ball that aren't Goku's techniques in the Destructo Disc and the Solar Flare.
It's baffling to me this like like everyone doesn't know the Solar Flare now. They just
Exactly.
Actually, no, they all kind of like, didn't Goku learn it? And I think Piccolo learned it.
They don't use it enough.
They certainly don't.
I think Piccolo did. I feel like Gohan had it at one point when he was a kid, didn't he?
I feel like, let's see, if I recall, it was more so like, I think Yamcha could do it, I think. because it was more like a Z Warrior thing, like really just like the Earth
Yeah.
Warriors could do it, but Krillin was the one known to like do it the most.
That was his specialty for sure. Actually,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
what did TN's move first?
I'd have to go
Actually,
back.
yeah, it
I'd
was
have to go
TN's
back and
move
watch
first.
I
Dragon Ball
believe it
because I
was
really
TN's
don't
move
remember.
first. In fact, actually, I know it was TN's move first, and then
They took a
Krillin
lot of
just
TN's
became.
moves.
They did. They took multiform from him. They took all that shit. Like the only
They
thing
took
they
flight.
didn't take, they definitely took flight. Like they
Yeah.
jacked it. But I know that Solar Flare, for reasons I remember that Solar Flare was originally TN's move. I can't explain why.
Yep.
So
It's originally his. I'm looking at it on the wiki. He's the first one up there that everybody behind him can
okay,
use
there we
it.
go.
So yeah.
So like Gamma 2 tries his attack, but it doesn't work, of course. So now we back in the full old school Dragon Ball mode because they asked Piccolo to go giant. And I was like, yeah. Like he did it years ago, and I was like, I appreciate the callback. Like
Yeah.
they've been bringing back a lot of things for Dragon Ball, so this was just one more
Right.
thing. They were like, bet, he can go giant. Let's make that happen. Unfortunately, growing does not add to his strength, so we're left with relying on Gohan again on some like, hey man, hold him in place while I charge up type shit. I never liked that part of Dragon Ball. That was always the weakest thing. Hold him off while I charge the Spirit Bomb. Hold him off while I charge the Special Beam. I never liked that shit. So like that part kind of stunk. But I mean, like I got it. Like okay, we got to find a way to ratchet the tension
Right.
up. The movie is coming to an end.
Yeah.
Gohan is able to go back to Mystic again, which I don't really like that that's a power up. I don't like. I always felt like when he got it in Boo, that was just his unlocked power,
Yeah.
and he was just in Mystic for forever now.
Yeah.
And he just didn't need Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan didn't add to him like Mystic could. And so
Right.
like when they brought him back and he not only didn't have Mystic, but he struggled to go into Super Saiyan. I hated that.
It's what
And now it's like-
differentiated him because it's like Gohan's always been like the like I mean I know like Goten and Trunks they're half Saiyans too, but Gohan's always been like the half Saiyan where he's just different from just like a normal Saiyan. So it's like the ultimate or like mystic form always felt like that was just Gohan's thing. He didn't need
Agreed.
Super Saiyan.
I guess they just decided, hey man, we want Gohan to go Super Saiyan for like, the fight scenes and like the hype and all that shit. So even if it don't really make a lot of sense, fuck the logic. Let's just go with the hype, which is again like kind of why I fell off of Dragon Ball, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
What's up, Todd?
the transformation did kind of fuck with me a little bit. Like that's a tiny little nitpick, but I didn't like the fact that he ended up going Super Saiyan, and then once he powered up again, it felt so weird seeing him go from normal Gohan, Super Saiyan Gohan, and then he transformed again, went right back to Mystic. I'm like, it feels so fucking off-putting. Just let him go straight to Mystic. Skip this Super Saiyan shit.
I would
Fair.
prefer if Mystic was like Super Saiyan full power, like from the Cell Saga, where
Oh,
he
yeah.
was just like in that shit at all times and he just had complete mastery.
Yeah.
That to me would have been better, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So they start fighting, and like, first off, I cannot believe that they had 2 Zensu beans, and for whatever reason, Gohan is such a fucking klutz that Piccolo hands him one, and he's like,
Get that diddly dee.
Shout out to Tony Baker.
yeah, man, skid that diddly deed, that fucking Zensu bean down a fucking crevice that they couldn't even get it back. And he's like, look, bro, I'm not giving you mine. Like, fuck you. But then the shit gets so serious that he's like, fuck it. You eat the Zensu bean and power back up and let's try to get something done. And he hits Gohan with the I believe in you bullshit to be like, hey, man, you can really get the job done. Because it's got to be an echo of when they fought Cell the first time, and he got to have one of his dads tell him he believe in him and shit like that. And so, like,
We did
That
this.
turns
We
out to
did this
be-
with the Tournament of Power. That's what I'm saying. This arc, I really can't believe that not more people are calling this out. We've been through this arc with Gohan like 3 separate times now. It's like I can understand the Majin Buu arc when it was a thing because that was the first time we did it. But we went through it with the Tournament of Power, where Piccolo pretty much gave the same kind of speech to Gohan: reach into yourself, draw out your full potential, and he did it. And he went to the Tournament of Power, and he did well. And to just completely throw all that away and undermine it and do the same thing again in this movie, if they reset Gohan again to where he has to go through this same exact arc, I'm I'm gonna be like, all right, I see what you're doing, Dragon Ball. I'm gonna see what you're doing.
Do you know why nobody's complaining?
Well, because everybody. Well, let me hear from you what your reason is.
Because the people who care about that aged out, and so now they don't take Dragon Ball serious anymore.
Well, I
And
guess
so all you have left are like the hardest of hardcore fans. It's like WWE a little bit. WWE it just got the quality of the stories just got worse and worse and worse, and fans just left it and left it and left it. It was still a mega popular success, just like Dragon Ball, but like the fans that really cared about the storylines just kind of like, I see nothing's gonna change, and so I dip. And even if you come back like me, like I'm not a huge fan anymore. Even if you come back, you don't really say anything. You just kind of like, yep, that was a Dragon Ball film. That's why I'm not as down on it as you, Terrence, because I stopped believing in Dragon Ball to give me like logical motivations and proper character progression a long time ago. Like I know it's not capable of doing that. In fact, I congratulate Dragon Ball Superhero just for giving them, just for like the basic shit that I have been asking them to do decades ago. Giving Piccolo his own power-up. Giving Gohan a power-up to let him keep up with Goku and Vegeta. Like that shit, differentiating the Super Saiyan forms so that they're not all just Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3. Like they all, Ultra Instinct, Ultra Ego, Gohan Blanco, Orange Piccolo. Cool, they kind of differentiate themselves now. Like that's bare minimum basic shit that any other shonen anime would have done already and has been doing for like 20 years. But like Dragon Ball Z is not going to do it. And the people that are left that are super fans are fine with that. They don't care anymore.
See, I would agree, but here's the thing. Broly came out. You can't release a movie like Broly and it be significantly better than this, and like this feels like we're going backwards. That's kind of my thing. It's like Broly
better?
Broly is a vastly better movie than this movie, in my opinion, anyway.
It's a great film, but really, it's like what? It's like, well, how long is Broly? Would you say? Like, I don't know, like off the top.
You talking about like how long the movie it is, like duration?
Yeah.
Like what? Maybe an hour 45.
So you figure, how much of that would you say is the fight scene?
It's not really like Broly gets
Damn
to the
near
fights pretty quick. Yeah.
Damn near all of it, right?
Yeah, like,
and so like the reason why you like it is because that's the thing that Dragon Ball Z always kind of did the best, was like a really solid hype pulse-pounding fight scene, and it just does a really well animated version of that. But plot-wise, like there's not, like they basically turned Goku's origin into Superman's origin.
Yeah. Well,
That nigga is
I
just
can't
Kal-El
argue
now.
that. Yeah.
He just Kal-El. And I mean, that was really cool getting to show like the sci-fi elements. And Dragon Ball Z was always better when it was doing the sci-fi shit with like the Saiyan Saga and the Frieza Saga. It was always best when it was doing that. But like ultimately, that was all it was. Like it was, we gonna show Goku's origin where we basically turned him into Superman. And then after that, it's just gonna be hands for the next 60, 70 minutes or whatever. And so like, it's not that it's a bad movie. It's a great film. I love Dragon Ball Broly. But like, the complaints that we have, I'm going to say they kind of not really all that different because like they didn't really bother to do a plot in the first place in Dragon Ball Broly to me.
Yeah. We might just agree to disagree on that one. I'll put it that way. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I will say this, Terrence, to your point. I'm sorry. When I was watching the scene where they were rehashing on Gohan, I almost felt like Gamma 2 would, like, before he died, would come up and just go to Gohan like, Gohan, you have to let go. Gohan. You have to.
Gohan.
You have to unleash your potential. Gohan, please.
Well, we kind of got that anyway because Piccolo's like, I'm going to hold him back while you gather all the power you can. And then Cell Max beats Piccolo's ass.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Beast Gohan, basically, like the power up, the white power up is called Beast Gohan. It comes from Piccolo.
Is it really called Beast Gohan?
I think so. I think that's what they're calling it. That's what I saw trending. I don't know if that's correct or not. The Gohan Blanco thing is like a meme, so that's what they were calling that. Like it was like a little meme that came out long before the films. But Beast Gohan or whatever the fuck White Gohan, White Mystic Gohan, whatever the fuck you want to call it, it comes from Piccolo taking the worst ass whooping I've ever seen him take since like Android 17 was punching that nigga guts out. Y'all remember that shit? Where
Oh, yeah.
hard, like his
Yes,
stomach,
sir.
back and shit. It looked like
was,
that.
That was at least even though. Like that fight felt a lot more even with 17 and Piccolo.
Yeah, it definitely felt a lot more even. But Beast Gohan finally comes out after, Cell maxed and beat the brakes off this man and damn near killed him. And he holding him above his head like countless fight scenes, really. I don't even, there's not even
He pretty much hit the
Goku.
the Goku Raccoon shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what it is. Yeah, the Goku Raccoon. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's a reference to something I seen it. I couldn't put my finger on it. I was like, this
Goku
reminds
Raccoon.
me of something, but I can't put my finger on it.
So Beast
thank y'all.
Gohan pops up. He's supercharged and shit. And he goes back to that same Saiyan thing where he has this cocky look on his face for whatever reason. And I'm like, bro, if you're gonna be that cocky, why don't you be trained up all the time?
For real.
But Cell Max is like still got that bitch madeness in him that Cell always had, where he's like, I can't win this fight, so I'm gonna create this giant fucking energy ball, which looked cool as shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
They did the thing where you panned out and you see it from space and it expands again. You're like, holy shit, it's about to be over with for y'all. But Gohan is like, look, I got the special beam cannon. And I thought that was a really great moment. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I do think it was cool.
Oh, yes. I thought
Good
that
callback, too. I mean, that's what
Amazing
Piccolo used
callback.
on, take out Raditz and Goku. Of course, Gohan literally witnessed that, so you remember.
He definitely remember. What I like about it in both Piccolo and Gohan's case, the special beam cannon doesn't take nearly as long to charge it as it used to. Like they kind of can. It takes about as long as the Kamehameha wave from now, apparently, which I think is good. So he finishes him off with the special beam cannon, and they all get the fuck out of the way. Cell Max explodes. They all fly away as he does a super explosion, like he's dead now. And then they start talking, and Piccolo is like, "Hey man, stay on your training," which Terrence is right. They've said that to him about a dozen times now, and he's always like, I'm finna go back to not caring about my kid and working on these research papers. But Piccolo also compliments him on the usage of the special beam cannon, because he was like, hey man, that looked familiar. Interestingly enough, by the way, a little quick side note, our film, even though it was subbed, for whatever reason went full weeb, and they didn't call it the special beam cannon. Like the subtitles legit said making Kosapo, and I was like,
yeah.
I feel like I'm in 8th grade again, but all right, I'll take it. I was cool with it. Like, I'm not against using the original Japanese names. I just thought they'd use the localized names. So it was a little bit of a surprise for me. Later on, a few seconds later, Hedo and Gamma 1 have to watch Gamma 2 fade into non-existence. And then Piccolo points out how Gamma 2 basically weakened Cell Max, made it possible for them to win. And in the end, Hedo agrees to work at Capsule Corps at Bulma's suggestion. Oh, actually, at Krillin's suggestion, which bothered Android 18 for some reason that I don't understand. Do y'all know?
Yeah, I don't get that.
I guess because she's a red ribbon, she's a former android, so she knows how they act.
Oh, so you saying she just didn't trust them?
Just didn't trust them.
Yeah, that could be cases. Like, you don't need somebody like that around building more androids, I guess.
Yeah, but I think Bulma said, look, can you do cosmetics? Can you make it look younger?
That is exactly what she said.
They made her vain well, she always was kind of vain, but they made her super vain.
Always vain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hell, she was going to originally use the Dragon Balls to wish for a boyfriend, so yeah, that's pretty vain.
That is true.
Good point. Hedo agrees to stay and help make better skin treatment, and Pan points out that now she can fly, so Piccolo agrees to start teaching Pan the hard stuff, and that's how the film closes out, with her flying around and joy and happy ending, and we back to normal. And then there's the post-credit scene.
Oh yeah,
in which apparently we missed the coldest Goku and Vegeta fight scene ever, which brought Broly and his friend to fucking tears while Chilai was asleep, which I thought was cool for a couple of reasons, because it was like, obviously, as Dragon Ball Z fans, we've always wanted to see Goku and Vegeta just go all out until we finally got a victor without something interrupting them again. But that's something that mostly men want for the most part. Like, I'm not gonna speak for all women, but it was clear Chilai was kind of like a stand-in where she was just like, this shit boring and you fucking men are weird. And the two guys were like, God, this is the greatest shit we ever seen, which was kind of like a fuck you, because we didn't get a chance to see it, but it was also kind of cute. Yeah. And then watching Vegeta basically knock Goku out, sort of, because Goku kind of winks and he's like, "Oh, you finally beat me, Vegeta." To which I was like, "Isn't he stronger than you in base form anyway?" Never mind. But it's all good. All in all, I gotta give the film. I'm gonna give the film, and bear in mind, I'm gonna be honest. I'm grading it on a curve. Like if it was like, if I graded it compared to like other films that I like really think highly of, I probably would give it a 6 or some shit like that. But it's on a curve, and on the Dragon Ball curve, I'm giving it an 8. It was a solid film. I enjoyed a lot of it. I mean, I laughed a lot. I love Pan. I like seeing Gohan and Piccolo finally, be useful or whatever. The Red Ribbon Army shit leans a little bit into the creative bankruptcy problem I think that Dragon Ball has.
Yeah,
where
it
they
always
just
has to
don't
go
wanna do
back.
It's always
Oh,
some
yeah.
reference to some shit from 20 years ago, 40 years ago. Like, bro, just do like that's why I love the Tournament of Power, even though people didn't like it. I loved it because it was like, no, this is all new shit. We introducing all new stuff. Like some people had problems
You
with
know
the
what I'm
Tournament of
saying,
Power.
King?
Like,
They ain't like that.
I don't know, but
Oh,
like
wow.
I loved it. I thought it was incredible because it was all new shit. This is like more throwback shit. And I'm like, I guess it's cool. Like, I appreciate them for throwing back to Dragon Ball because usually you kind of forget about that part. But for the most part, I was like, still too many throwbacks, more new shit I would appreciate. But yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8. Rakeem, you said you were gonna give it a 7. You got any closing thoughts?
Yeah, it was about 7.5. I felt like for the most part, like I said, it was an enjoyable film. Especially like the best part about this film to me was like when I first watched it, I was like, wow, they really giving these side characters some personality and some extra character. And I really appreciated that. So I feel like it was successful in that regard. So for me, 7.5. I think it was fine. I think some of the early parts that were slower kind of bogged it down a little bit for me, but I still think it was fine for what it was. Yeah.
Will, what's up, man?
So I'm gonna take it y'all saw that.
I did see it. I don't know what happened. It's fine. It'll be fine.
Oh,
But,
I
you
know
know,
it-
I totally missed it.
know
I
we'll
like
be,
looked down.
but
I wouldn't even.
Will like disconnected for a second. It's fine. This
It's
is
like
podcast.
it's like my Discord just randomly reset itself, and I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? I got scared because I thought my internet had died. I'm like, no.
It happens. Y'all just gonna deal with it. We're not exactly the most expensive podcast. I apologize, but we're trying our best for y'all. So, Will, what's up, man? How did you think of the film? Like, final thoughts. What did you rate it?
My final thoughts on it is that I thought it was a really solid film. It was a fun watch, no doubt about it. When I watch it again, probably just to kind of catch like little background elements and things of that sort. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it like a 7.5. It's an enjoyable watch. Go take a seat with it. It's fun, especially if you are a Dragon Ball fan. If you've been watching for a very long time, you've been a big fan of the series. Sit down with it. You'll like it. It does a lot of things.
Terrence, final thoughts, man. What's up?
We didn't really talk about Gohan's form. I will say, I'll just ask, did any of y'all think it looked kind of goofy or?
Yeah.
In a way, I did.
I get it.
It was
Like I get it. Like it's a callback to Super Saiyan 2 and how Super Saiyan 2 kind of had like wild hair and everything on Gohan anyway. But the CG, I don't know, just seeing it in CG, it looked kind of just off. It looked like some Dragon Ball AF stuff, which is kind of where we're going with Dragon Ball at this point.
Be
so,
honest, yeah.
It looks exactly like Dragon Ball AF.
You want to know what it made me think of? It made me think of Dr. Stone.
Oh, I can kind of see that. I see what you're getting at. Yeah,
it kind of gave me that.
Stone's haircut. Yeah.
Like,
And I was
you talking about
sitting
Senku?
there like, yeah, it
Yeah.
made me think of him. I'm like, did they?
And it was essentially like Super Saiyan and Mystic Form put together, kind of, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Kind of what they were going for. Yeah.
yeah. And
That's another.
we'll go. Sorry,
That's
go ahead.
something else I'm not really a fan of. Like, it's just a lot of like, we gonna mix Super Saiyan and Kaioken. We gonna mix Super Saiyan and Mystic. And it's not like, just come up with some new shit. Like, just come up with all new shit, please. Like, that's all I ask.
You're right, Sage. Next time, purple hair, go on.
I
Did we
mean,
get that
I
kinda
think
with,
is it
Rose?
Ultra Ego like purple?
Ultra Ego actually is purple. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Terrence. Ultra Ego's purple. So like we've done that.
I'm telling you, all we're doing is just making the new forms just different colors of the rainbow now. Oh my goodness! But in terms of what I think, like I do think that it's not a bad movie at all. Like I think it's enjoyable. Like it's one of those movies where you go into it and if you don't really have any expectations, I think you will really enjoy it. And I think that on rewatch, there's probably a lot of stuff in the background to pay attention to and have fun with. I think it's a movie that if you just go into it not really having like any high expectations as a Dragon Ball fan or just it's just I guess it just expect expectations for the movie in general. Like, I think you will have a fun time. And you know what? For the most part that I've been seeing online, a lot of the Dragon Ball fans really like it. So, I can't take away anybody's enjoyment. What I would give it is, I give it like probably a 7 or a 7.5. I think it's fine. It's fine. I'll put it that way.
So I think all of y'all have given it like a 7 to a 7.5. Am I right?
I kind of bumped it up a little bit. I was just gonna say 7, but I was like
7.5 is
I
good
don't-
because that was definitely part of the movies that I liked. Like straight up, like
Yeah,
comedic
I'm not
time
gonna
was
try
fine,
and
yeah.
like sound
Yeah.
like trust me, I don't hate the movie. I don't. It's just that I don't think I liked it as much as what I'm seeing, and I think it's kind of plays into the narrative of like, because it's Dragon Ball, people are kind of just lax on it and just
Nostalgia.
kind of let it go. And so maybe, I don't know, maybe I am just thinking too much about it. Maybe I care too much. Maybe I should just sit back and be like, well, you know what, it's Dragon Ball, and just
It's crazy. Like, I'm the one that like probably has the biggest problems with Dragon Ball, but I guess I just, because I have such low standards for the franchise, I kind of rated it the highest. I was like, it's all right.
It'd be
You know,
like that
I got some
sometimes.
chuckles out of it.
It
That
does.
was I wasn't expecting no grand sweeping shit. So I
I
just
guess
was like, all
Broly
right.
set my expectations too high. I think that's really what it is. Like, I liked Broly so much. I thought that was such a good film. Like, just not only by Dragon Ball standards, but just in general, just as an anime film, I think it worked really well. And the fight choreography, the animation, like all of it was just on point. And for them to bring this out and it's not up to that level, that kind of just throws me off a bit. So maybe that's my issue with it, is just that I just don't see it as good as Broly.
It's certainly not that. It is absolutely like Broly of the Dragon Ball Super films, because I quite frankly, I most of the Dragon Ball Z films I quite dislike, but like of the Super films, Broly was the best.
Yeah.
Like by a large margin, and probably Battle of the Gods would come after that for me,
Yeah, that
and then
yeah.
probably this actually, and then Resurrection F coming in dead last.
Yeah,
You know, I still
I
haven't seen
wasn't sure
Resurrection
where. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rakeem.
I still haven't seen Resurrection. I've seen all the other movies, even though most of the old movies. I still haven't seen Resurrection F.
You ain't missing nothing. What was you saying, Terrence?
I was just gonna say, yeah. I was thinking about where to rank them, and I'm not sure. I'd have to watch Resurrection F again, like to see where I would put it in comparison to this movie. Because I was thinking maybe I would put Resurrection F above this one, but I'm really not sure. I'd have to go back and watch it.
That scene where Gohan had to struggle to go Super Saiyan, and then also the scene where this man Vegeta beat Frieza ass, but Frieza was like, nah, fuck that, I'm gonna blow up the planet. And Whis was like, all right, let's run it back. And then Goku was like, look, fuck Vegeta getting his, I'm gonna just kill him again. I was like, this shit ass. Not ass, not I'm angry ass, but I'm actually it got close to making me angry again. It was too much repeat shit. So yeah, that shit got dead last for me.
That's fair
and
enough.
Super is a solid, like Battle of the Gods is just such a great comeback movie, like a great like reunion, basically, like a reunion of all the Dragon Ball Z characters. What have they been up to? Let's catch up with them. Let's have fun with the characters, that type shit. Low stakes. It was basically this, except this is a sequel. And so like you kind of already done the reunion, and so it's like, all right, well, now you got to start telling some stories. You can't just be like, oh, we're glad to have the guys back. So like that's why that ranks third to me. But it's still like I still enjoy that more than I enjoyed Resurrection F. Do y'all, Rakeem, Will, do either one of y'all, where would y'all rank this among like the super films?
Among the super films, I'm with y'all. Broly first, definitely. That was just an experience. It was really cool. I didn't see Resurrection F. I did watch some of the super episodes, but I wasn't super interested in the Frieza stuff back then. I'll be great.
That makes it even worse if you watch the super episodes version of it.
Even Golden Frieza wasn't enough to give me like, yeah, this is cool. Battle of the Gods, I do remember kind of fondly because it was like one of those situations where like you got to see some stuff out of character. Like Vegeta got super out of character trying to appease Beerus for not destroying everybody. And the battle between Beerus and Goku was pretty freaking epic, and the God form for the first time. That was really cool. So I would definitely put like Broly, Battle of the Gods, probably this movie, and then Resurrection F because I just haven't seen it for the last one yet.
I ain't gonna lie, like the Vegeta thing made way more sense in that movie than it did against like in the original Broly film where he just like
Oh, yeah.
bitched up because of a legend.
We
I'm
can't
like,
beat
bro,
him.
the legend might not even be real, but like the God of Destruction, that guy was real. Like
He
even
was there.
literally anybody who knew who he was immediately was like, oh shit, it's that guy. Because there ain't nothing to be done about him. Like he really can't be stopped. So I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And then when he was defending his wife, he was like, look,
You
I
can
don't
touch
care
my
who
wife.
you are. So you ain't finna just smack my wife. Square up. So like I fucked with that. Will, what would you rank it among like the super films?
Among the super films, I definitely have to put it at number 3. Broly just hits. I just like it. I
Man, does
really fucking do. Battle of the Gods is definitely something I enjoy. Something I definitely put on repeat if I had a choice, or if I just wanted to watch something like Dragon Ball related without having to dip into the goddamn show at any given moment. So this movie here definitely ranks 3rd right now, and Resurrection of F definitely at the tail end.
There we go. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, I need a few things from you. I need you to do us a favor. Hit that subscription button on YouTube. I need you to follow us on Twitter and TikTok. I need you to tell your friends about us. And I need you to do me a personal favor and have an excellent week. Peace.